Hello there, everyone, and welcome to my WWE Clash of Champions reaction video. So, a lot to get into, and especially how I was completely right about the whole Bray Wyatt situation. I predicted, I knew this was going to happen, that we were going to have the Fiend directing the future of this whole company. So, we'll get to that at the very end of this video. So first up, we're going to talk about the United States Championship match that only lasted 4 minutes. AJ Styles defended against Cedric Alexander last night, and Cedric Alexander is a joke. I think he's better off going to NXT because, honestly, there needs to be more development for him. He's not meant to be on the main roster, and don't be surprised if he shows up on Wednesday night because that could happen when the big move happens on the USA Network on Wednesday night. So, definitely I can see that happening. But Styles is Styles. See how long this reign stays. But can't stop AJ and can't stop the OC right now. Especially when you have Gallows and Anderson on your side. That really benefits you in your favor. So, I'm going to organize the card into, reason here. Now everything just played itself out last night. So, on the main card, our first match was, of course, the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman defending the Raw belt against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, a new tag team. And, believe it or not, no surprise, new Raw Tag Team Champions. This didn't surprise me. The match was okay, but you gotta give props to Ziggler and Roode. I mean, it's an odd division right now when it comes to tag teams, which we'll get to SmackDown in just a bit, but I like to see how this Roode and Ziggler tag team is going to end up, because this is a little bit funny to see, but hey, good for Dolph coming back, actually winning a championship. That's good for him. Dolph's been a jobber, but good for Dolph. See how this ends up in the long run. So the next match, believe it or not, was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. So we had Bayley defending her belt against Charlotte Flair. Now, if Charlotte had won this match, she would have been a 10-time champion. And unfortunately, things didn't look good for Charlotte Flair. Bayley was able to, of course, win the match, but a very odd way of how this match even ended. So right after Bayley defended her belt, she just ran off with the SmackDown Women's Championship. She didn't even have a proper celebration. So, I don't know. I mean, this Bayley is crazy. She tries to pretend that she's a face, but we all know she's a heel character. Especially with the whole Sasha Banks controversy, but I'm shocked Charlotte didn't win. Maybe Charlotte will get another title shot down the line, but we'll see. But, hey, Charlotte's always going to be around this business. She's definitely, I think, one of the faces when you think of people who are reliable on the roster. You can always count on Charlotte. And again, who knows? Maybe she'll get a title shot down the line again. We'll see how that ends up. So afterwards, we had SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods taking on the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. And believe it or not, it was a very embarrassing ending for the New Day. Pretty much Xavier tapped out. And thus we have new SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I really do feel bad for Xavier's health. Not that many people will tell you this, but I know this from my sources that Xavier's legs and his knees are just, are just not holding up anymore. There's constant problems when he gets injured. Big E can't seem to stay healthy anymore either. So, you really do gotta feel bad for Xavier Woods and Big E Langston. And I'm very happy, since Kofi has become champion, that he's his own person. And I feel that eventually they're going to have to break up the New Day, and Kofi's just going to have to be his own person, because I gotta admit, since Kofi's been champion, he's been able to write his own story, and each and every time I see Kofi come out to the ring, he definitely earns my respect lately. And we'll get to Kingston in just a second, but I don't know what happened here. We literally thought that New Day was going to defend. Maybe for permanent sake when SmackDown moves to Fox in a couple weeks, that Wilder and Dawson will just stay on SmackDown and they'll just be a permanent face of what's to come. So, what was the next match? Well, we'll get to that in just a second. We had the Intercontinental Championship match as The Miz was taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, Sami Zayn, you clearly see he had a neck brace. If you didn't watch SmackDown last week, he disrespected The Undertaker at Madison Square Garden. Undertaker joke slammed him, which I think Sami deserved it because it's like, oh, pass the torch, pass the torch. Yeah, problem. You can't pass the torch very easily. Alright? Sami Zayn's just a jobber. And it's like, you want to team him up with Shinsuke Nakamura, whatever, but Miz was distracted. I really do feel bad for Mike, being put in this situation. Will he be getting another opportunity for a main title shot? I don't know. I mean, we'll see what ends up down the line for Miz. But, Miz is still going to be around for a while. We don't know what the future will hold for The Miz. And, again, Mike is really dedicated to this business. I've said it time and time again. Mike just, he loves the business. Heel or face. We all know that. His whole life is dedicated towards the WWE. And, again, Vince McMahon likes this guy. So I'm hoping that he'll get a title shot down the line. Who knows? Maybe they'll turn him heel again, and maybe they'll give him a WWE title shot against Kofi. Because honestly, who's left for Kofi anymore? Which, we'll get to that again, but Shinsuke defends. And now we move on to Women's Tag Team Championships. So we had Nikki Cross, who, by the way, Nikki actually looked good last night. I gotta admit, Alexa's really giving her good beauty advice, because Alexa Bliss was actually dressed as Harley Quinn last night. And we had Fire and Desire, and the funny thing happened during this match. R-Truth actually came out with Carmella, and there was a whole melee for the 24/7 title. And the funny thing is, Alexa almost became 24/7 champion last night during her tag team defense with Nikki Cross. Now, that would have been funny to see, but R-Truth kicked out. Eventually, we all know if that 24/7 title, it's going to change hands. Who knows? Maybe they're not on Raw. But the way things look right now, the women's tag team division, that's a whole different story. I've been hearing rumors that they want the Kooky Warriors of Kairi Sane and Asuka. Eventually, they're going to have to win the tag team titles. But good defense by Alexa, good defense by Nikki. I really hope that Nikki and Alexa's friendship isn't a fluke like it was with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. They have good chemistry. And, Alexa's always going to be somebody you count on as well, like Charlotte. And, Nikki Cross, she was good in NXT. And right now, she's really making her name on the main roster right now. So we'll see how things end up in the future for the tag team division for the women's side. But good for Alexa, good for, and my tablet just went off, and good for Nikki. So moving on, next up we had Raw Women's Championship. The man, Becky Lynch, won via disqualification last night against Sasha Banks. Now, last night was very controversial, as during the match, Sasha tried putting in a steel chair, and Becky hit a referee, and there was an article posted earlier today on WWE.com regarding Becky Lynch's actions. The WWE has announced that they will fine Becky Lynch for smacking a referee with a steel chair, which again, you're not supposed to do that. So the match ended. Becky won via disqualification, so she's still the women's champion on Raw. So the man still is the man. And I think this will end up in Hell in a Cell in a couple of weeks. I think probably tonight on Raw. Maybe the next week they'll announce that the rivalry's not over. And hopefully maybe this will get settled in a cell. But hey, the man defending her belt in Hell in a Cell would be awesome. So Becky's still the Raw Women's Champion, and the magical reign since WrestleMania continues. So gotta give it up to her. Kofi and Becky, respectively, have been champions since WrestleMania, which we'll get to that in just a second. Actually, well, let's get to it now. So last night, really good match between Orton and Kingston. Really good match. The match lasted about 20 minutes. I was really into it last night, and the way things ended up, I thought Orton was in control most of the match. And just like SummerSlam, Orton did have a lot of control. But what you have to respect about Kofi Kingston is that Kofi can give it his A game. You got to give Kofi his props, because this is the most aggressive I've ever seen Kofi in his whole career. And he's a face of the company. I think they're doing the right thing by keeping him a face. Again, I don't know who's going to win, who's going to take away the belt from Kofi. I mean, certainly you can't have a face in a face unless maybe you're going to turn Roman Reigns heel, which you never know. It could happen. You never know. And right now, the way I just see things, Kofi's really at his best right now. He hit the Trouble in Paradise. And for Orton, it's like, it just feels weird that he's not a champion at all this year. Every year since he's been in WWE, he's always carried gold around him. And it just makes it feel odd that Orton's not the champion. Because I would assume that Randy was going to be the champion going into the premiere episode of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox in a couple weeks. So way things end up, Kofi's the champion, and we'll see how it ends up in the future for Mr. Kingston, but Kofi's really living up to the hype. Is he going to be champion forever? Maybe. Would that be awesome to see? Yes. Especially how, again, Kofi's been in this industry for a long time, and you gotta respect Kofi for one thing. He never quits. He's always there. And the remarkable year for Kofi Kingston just continues. And right now, in my book, he's definitely the best wrestler of the entire year. He has to be, hands down. Who else has been the best wrestler this year besides Seth Rollins? Has to be Kofi Kingston. Now we move on to no disqualification match between Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan in a surprise last night. Luke Harper came out to help Eric. And of course, Rowan won the match. Harper is back. The Bludgeon Brothers are together again. And I don't know. I could see this ending up seeing a tag team match with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan taking on Harper and Rowan in the future, because I think it's going to happen. I think you could see that on the Hell in a Cell card. I think they would build that up, and I think it could happen. I really think you could have a tag team match at Hell in a Cell, because honestly, Daniel Bryan's not going to be quiet. I think he's going to come out on SmackDown on Tuesday. He's going to say, Roman, I didn't expect this to happen. We gotta stop this together. Thus, you turn Daniel Bryan face again, and I think that's the right move to make if you're gonna make Daniel Bryan a face again. And I think a couple weeks ago, when you heard Daniel Bryan speak and talk about how, Rowan double-crossed me, Rowan should have never done this, you could hear the crowd cheering for Daniel Bryan. And that's the first time in almost a year that the crowd actually wants to support Daniel Bryan. So what's there, folks? I think they're going to make the face turn on Tuesday. I really think that Roman's going to come to his senses, and I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a tag team match at Hell in a Cell. And if it doesn't happen at Hell in a Cell, I don't know, because I think that would be a great addition to that card next month. Definitely for a mid-card spot, I would say yes. Make the match happen. And lastly, our main event of the night, the monster among men, Braun Strowman, taking on Seth Rollins, who Braun was angry losing the Raw Tag Team titles. So, very good match. Now, I'll get to that in just a second. So, Seth Rollins actually hit the pedigree last night on Strowman and curb stomped Strowman 4 times, which is amazing. But once the pay-per-view was about to end, none other than The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, comes out of nowhere, which I'm going to play the screaming right now from the computer if I can even find it, because that is just something we got to play. I can even find it. Maybe it's here. Let's see. Can I get it on here? Here we go. Yep, this is exactly what happened. Where's the screech? Okay, it's gonna play for a second, but this sets the mood. So last night, and I'll lower the sound for a second. The Fiend comes out, right? Sister Abigail, and puts Seth in the mandible claw. So I think right now you have an excellent setup for Hell in a Cell. I think this is definitely going to be in a Hell in a Cell match. Especially how, again, the promoter of the pay-per-view a couple weeks ago tweeted, "See Bray Wyatt take on Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship." And then a couple weeks ago on Firefly Funhouse, we all saw it. And way things end up right now, you're definitely going to see a Hell in a Cell match. I think this definitely gets decided in the cell. And also mention, Vince McMahon Cup. It's like, how dare you challenge for the Universal Championship? I'm Vince McMahon, because bleep you. That's why. So, I think the way things end up, you make the match official. Which I think it is official. Hang on, I'll double check the Hell in a Cell thing on Wikipedia. And if it's official, because I'm recording at 4 o'clock right now. After 4 o'clock, it's almost like 4:30 right now. So let's see. Is the match confirmed? Okay, no, the match is not confirmed yet. Because I'm wondering, like, I saw something on Facebook earlier, but that was probably just a rumor. So, we know right now Hell in a Cell will take place 2 nights after SmackDown makes its debut on Fox, which I think Fox is making the right move. This is a good way to promote the pay-per-view, and we'll see how it ends up. And I'm very excited for Hell in a Cell, because then Hell in a Cell will give us an idea for what Crown Jewel's going to be like on Halloween. Which, I'm still wondering, why are you having a pay-per-view on a Thursday? That still baffles me. I'm still wondering that. So I think with that, I'm going to wrap up my reaction video to Clash of Champions. So thank you all for watching. Hell in a Cell predictions will be available on October 5th at 9 a.m. Eastern. So I'll tape the video probably on Thursday the 3rd, because I know I have a doctor's appointment on Friday, so I'll have to figure out my taping schedule that week, especially how the Jewish holiday Rosh Hashanah is coming up, so I gotta figure out how I'm gonna tape all these videos. So, thank you all for watching. Until the next one, please take care.